Uh-oh. Do you know what? I don't think it's looking good for Rings of Power Season 2. As if you're surprised after the abomination that was Season 1. You know my thoughts on that. Very interesting that the reviews thus far from mainstream critics, yeah, there's been plenty of positive ones for sure. But for the first few episodes, which critics have seen, there's a lot of mixed reviews. Positive here and there, but there's a lot of sort of, yeah, it's got flaws. Yeah, there's kind of issues and that sort of thing. It's a general vibe is that good, not great, which is actually, considering that there was so much praise in the first season from mainstream critics, that's quite a step down when you think about it. This is one from Collider.com, The Lord of the Rings of Power Season 2 review, Too Many Rings, Not Enough Power. And the second paragraph, it says, yet while many of the Rings of Power's best qualities remain front and center in Season 2, so too do some of its greatest weaknesses. The series' large ensemble cast expands to cover even more physical ground in Middle-earth this season. But the same can't necessarily be said for the overall plot, which often suffers from disjointed pacing. You can check out the full article there. Kind of similar for RadioTimes.com. The Rings of Power Season 2 review, splendid storytelling redeems series, but still has flaws. So there's the compliment, but then there's the negative, and it's, that's an interesting sort of change. The Hollywood Reporter says, The Lord of the Rings of Power review, Season 2 of Amazon's fantasy prequel is too epic for its own good. As Sauron continues fixating on precious jewelry, all of Middle-earth ramps up toward a world-changing, era-defining showdown between good and evil. And you can see here it says, the issue is largely with one of imbalance. While the Rings of Power has always felt enormous, as befits both its continent-spanning plot and its eye-watering budget, its true secret weapon has been its emphasis on smaller, more personal plights. Lord of the Rings lore tends to slide off my brain like a fried egg of Teflon. But I found it easy enough in the first season to fall in with the friendship between the shrewd elf politician Elrond and the obstinate dwarf prince Durin the Fourth, or the star-crossed romance between the valiant elf soldier Arondir and the righteous human healer Bronwyn. I became invested in the fate of Middle-earth because I cared about them, not the other way around. With Sauron and 3 of the 20 eventual Rings of Power having been revealed in the last finale, however, this volume shifts its storytelling focus to the bigger picture. So more iconic artifacts are brought forth, more bloody battles are fought, more fan-favorite names are announced, in one case accompanied by a whole theme song performed by Rufus Wainwright. So much is happening that it takes the first 3 hours of this 8-part installment just to check in with all the main characters, and so much is at stake that every conversation seems laden with the potential to save the world or destroy it. In such an earth-shaking cascade of events, the little moments tend to get lost, and since it was those little moments that made this universe come to life to begin with, the Rings of Power is left feeling dull despite all that drama. So it sounds like there's not enough character there for us to get invested in. Total Film has this, The Lord of the Rings and Rings of Power Season 2, a bleak, oppressive ode to Middle-earth anchored by one of the year's best performances. And they give it 4 stars, so it is mostly a positive review there. But again, I don't like the idea of, I just wanted to point this review out because a bleak, oppressive ode to Middle-earth, that's not how I see Middle-earth, but anyway. This is from AkilaOra.com, The Rings of Power Season 2 review, From Pure Torture to Wild Ambition. The Lord of the Rings series delivers bigger action and a less puzzle-oriented plot, but also makes a few calamitous filmmaking errors. Considering the incredibly huge budget for this show, there really shouldn't be any filmmaking errors, but you can check that one out as well. Here's a paragraph I want to point out. Few positives, but overall a stodged mess. That inability to earn its moments and failure to develop them hurts the Rings of Power Season 2. If you can't make me feel or connect with your characters, why would I be interested in the events that unfold? Indeed. So yeah, so this feels like it's even less character driven, really. And here's a pretty negative review from the independent.co.uk. The Rings of Power Season 2 review, like a mirthless roller coaster ride, rarely fraught with any tension. The lavish budget for the Lord of the Rings prequel has been spent on all the wrong things, and why must humour be eschewed at all costs? Esquire has this: The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power Season 2 premiere puts the mid in Middle Earth. The Prime Video series still lagging behind in fantasy TV wars. Final one I want to go through with you here is from USA Today. Lord of the Rings series, The Rings of Power, is beautiful but empty in Season 2. There is a hole in my heart where love for The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, should be. Season 1 of the outrageously expensive Amazon Prime series had a lot going for it. The sets, the costumes, the effects are gorgeous. You can tell and respect how much work it took to bring the series to life. So we'll skip ahead here to this paragraph. It says, unfortunately, all that promise has been utterly wasted on the confusing, directionless, and emotionally bankrupt second season of Rings of Power, streaming Thursdays. 1.5 out of 4 stars. If Season 1 was a leisurely stroll through Middle-earth, Season 2 gallops away, leaving many of the important details, character developments, and stakes behind. That's a consistent pattern I'm seeing across several of these reviews. There are others that they're all saying similar things, which is that, yes, the effects are impressive and the battles are impressive and all that sort of stuff, as many of them were in the first season. But there's something lacking. There's like a connection with the characters. There's a heart. The character development is gone. So it feels as though there's not enough of a human story there. Well, we shall see. I mean, if these early reviews from critics are like this, just imagine what it's going to be like when audiences finally watch the second season of Rings of Power. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Take care, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.